It's recording. Okay. All right. So good morning, class. Today, first before we start off, I want to get to know kind of your background in the area of plants so far, because I know we cover a lot of stuff on plants in grade 4. I just want to kind of see how much you guys remember from years previous. So I'm going to get you guys basically to see and together in pairs, basically what you can remember from previous years about plants. So you guys got a couple of minutes for that, so go ahead and amongst yourselves just figure out what you remember about plants and learning about plants. So it's an actual activity, guys. You actually have to like...
Damn it, that was the first thing I was going to ask you. What else do you remember about plants, or my lesson specifically?
Or did you guys learn in grade 4 about
or
plants? If you
grade
really
4,
remember that.
remember.
Or grade 6 even. And I'm already tripping over chairs.
Was that a crazy time for you?
Crazy.
What I know about plants is in grade 4,
Okay.
I used to eat grass.
So, since I gave you guys a bit of time to talk amongst yourselves, just want to get some feedback from you guys. So what's some stuff that you guys remember? Just jot out some information for me. Just anything you remember from previous years. Anyone willing? Brave soul out there? No hands? How about the leaves, the function of the leaves, something like that? There we go.
They do photosynthesis.
There you go. That's a great example. So, just for time's sake, I'm going to speed along. So, now that I have an idea of the background of students, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the lesson. So, to start off our lesson today, we're going to be learning about the life cycle of seed plants. So to begin, we have a seed, good little seed. For this example, I'm going to basically be using the common dandelion. And as we all know, that's a very successful plant. It's all over the world. One of the most successful plants that are out there, and there's a reason for that, because it's so good at reproducing. So here we are with our little seed. From that, the next stage in the life cycle is basically the sapling. So it's just a little, small little plant. And then from there, we have the adult plant, the adult dandelion. Those little spikes on its leaves. Alright, and then that also produces seeds. So the initial cycle, seed, when conditions are right, so let's say nutrients, and water and light are met, we end up having a sapling. And then from there, the way that you can tell the difference between a sapling and an adult plant is basically through the reproductive structures. And then from there, you have the creation of new plants via seeds. And that will be something we'll also touch upon later in the lesson. So, just to go over quickly about seeds, there's a couple of key things of seeds that are really important for us to know. So, in your basic seed, I'm going to do basically a cross section where I cut it in two. So here's one half and here's the other half. In a typical seed, you'll have an area for storage. That's where nutrients and even water and things are stored for the actual seed. And then we also have the embryo. And then from there, we also have the seed coat, which protects the seed. So now I'm going to need some more room. I want to make sure we're writing this down too. I know I'm going pretty quick here, but we should be jotting down notes. All right. So next we're going to get into the basic reproduction of a flowering plant. This is kind of interesting. At least I think it's pretty interesting. I did a lot of research on plants, so hope you guys enjoy this little diagram I'm going to be doing next. So, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to be drawing out a plant with both sexes on it, so male and female. Alright, so then from this diagram here, I'm going to let you guys know which are the key reproductive structures and their function. So here we have the anther. that is a male component of the plant. That is going to be housing pollen grains, which are used for reproduction. And then here we have basically, oh, yeah, question. Oh, there we go. Then here, basically, this is going to be the stigma. From there, we also have this section here, which is basically called the ovary. And then inside, we have the ovule. And the whole purpose of this complicated structure is for, let's say, a pollinator, for example, or wind or other processes, basically move the pollen grains from one plant to another, or even from the same plant onto the same plant, from the anther to the stigma. And once the pollen grain attaches itself to the stigma, another little button here. So the pollen grain lands. From there, a pollen tube is created all the way down to the ovule. Once it hits the ovule, genetic information is exchanged, and then from there, you have the production of your little dandelion seed that begins to happen. All right, so that's the basic rundown of sexual reproduction in seed plants. You can have plants, as I said before, that are strictly female, strictly male, or both male and female. And from that, I'm going to go on to our last little section. Really wish this whiteboard was a lot bigger. All right. So another way that plants also reproduce is via vegetative propagation. This is something we'll also talk about further in the next lesson. But for now, I'm just going to give you guys some neat and interesting examples about this process. So basically, when plants reproduce and they don't have seeds, typically they use vegetative propagation, or even plants that produce seeds still utilize one of these methods to reproduce. So, a really cool example of this would be a runner. So a runner, this is going to be your stalk of the plant. This is the soil. You've got roots coming out of it. A runner is basically coming from the stem and goes out and produces another plant, like so. And that's above the soil. Then we also have rhizomes, which come from underneath the surface of the soil, from the stem, which come out and also produce a plant. So those are two examples there. And then there's also some other ones that form, such as bulbs, which form from the stem, just below, just above where the roots are. So you can have a bulb. Another different one that you can have is tubers as well, which are kind of similar, which jut out of the stem, making some sort of weird structure. All right, so, and just to end, there's also another one that reproduces from roots as well. So with that, before everybody leaves today, I want to make sure that you guys fill out your exit slips. And with that, I want you guys to write down basically one of the ways that plants reproduce and explain it briefly. So you can pick any one of these: vegetative propagation or the seed plant reproduction. I know we haven't touched too much on the specifics of this yet, but we'll get into that next lesson. And yes, that is all. Oh, it's still going.